And welcome to another episode of the Other People Show. I'm Adam.
Casey.
And hopefully you just tuned in to Real Talk. We just had a great discussion on natural born killers.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I did too. So this is going to be interesting because this is actually the first episode other than Real Talk that you and I have done.
Yes, no, that's right. Yeah,
So,
only Real Talk. Yeah, no, you're right.
So I'm glad everyone's jumping aboard tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, good times.
So
this is the second half, very different than Real Talk.
A different vibe. We're going to have some fun times, some interesting, odd, weird, bizarre, surreal, theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind. Yeah,
we're going to start off. We're going to allow the audience to buckle in a little bit, though, unlike natural born killers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, intense in a different way, maybe.
Exactly. So if you want to follow us, you can go on their social media stuff: Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, The Other People Show. Go on TikTok, check it out.
Yeah.
So how's your week been? You said earlier it'd been a good week.
It's been a good week. I mean, it's my work week, so yeah, I do Black Bear barbecue. Eat at Black Bear, Appalachia.
Yeah, I saw something where they're doing some kind of a car ride.
Yeah, Appalachia's got quite a few things coming up in the next month or so. So that next Saturday is Jeep Rally.
Cool. Okay.
So not tomorrow, but next Saturday Jeep Rally. I want to say it starts about 8ish in the morning. I'm not positive on the gathering point.
Okay.
But if you hit up the town of Appalachia, I'm sure they can let you know. And we can find out. But I know, so it's got two rides. We got an off-road ride they're doing, I know, and then an on-road ride.
Okay.
I want to say the off-road ride is up around Big Cherry or something, maybe. I'm not positive on that. But then there's food and everything like that. And then I want to say June 8th is a music thing going on.
Okay.
Right there at Black Bear. Of course, Black Bear has live music every Saturday night anyway. So
very
it's
cool.
Always worth checking out.
Who's going to be there tomorrow? Do you know who's going to be there tomorrow?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
But they can check Black Bear Barbecue out on Facebook.
On Facebook, sure. Black Bear Barbecue and Grill.
Yeah, please do that. Now, I have yet to try there, but I might go down there this weekend.
Oh, it's good. You know,
what's the hours down there? It's not open every day, is it?
No, it's Thursday through Sunday, 11 to 9.
Goodbye.
At this moment. Now,
what would you recommend? Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, geez, it's hard to say. I mean, listen, if you like barbecue, it's a win-win. I'm a big brisket fan.
Okay.
So I eat the brisket there a lot. You can't go wrong, really. I mean, everything is good. It's all smoked in-house. It's great. The ribs are good. The chicken wings, honestly, are good if you like chicken wings, too. I got to plug chicken wings.
Right.
Because they're smoked.
Right.
So you get them smoked, and then we can toss them in, the buffalo sauce. It's very different, and it's one of the only places it's the most authentic barbecue around. You're probably going to get, with the exception of a couple other places.
Right.
There's a gentleman down Lee County Way that does some really good barbecue, and there's another place up the road here in Wise that beat us out for best barbecue. So I really don't want to plug them too much. Just saying.
But you're number 2.
No, yes, and so I'm not, whatever that is, but it's fine. But no, I mean, it's really good. And there's stuff there you're not going to find at some of the other restaurants. I mean, they might be trying to mimic them. And again, I'm not trying to take jobs or nothing, but if you don't have a smoker out back of your restaurant, you're not really smoking.
Right. You're not really making the way it's supposed to be made.
Yeah, listen, now, Chris Williams, he owns it. He does Second Chance Tires, too. So a lot of people locally, I'm sure, are familiar. But the man knows how to smoke some food, some meats. I mean, he smokes all that stuff himself.
Right.
So the ribs, the brisket, just all of it, the pork butts, everything. And he takes it seriously. And you can tell the man enjoys it. You can taste the love in the food, when he's preparing it. It's a win-win. I mean, the vibe is nice. It's in its second year now, maybe year and 4 or 5 months, maybe probably not even quite a year and a half yet. Maybe don't take my word for it. I've only been there. I've been there less than 6 months.
Okay.
So, but it's definitely worth checking. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I knew offhand who was there tomorrow, but we get a lot of people. We have a woman, she does Patsy Cline stuff. It's really good.
Okay.
She's out of Lee County, has a real good following that comes down. Sean Stone, who's actually, I noticed on the board, is going to be playing here at the theater in August.
Right. In the summer, yeah.
Yeah, he plays there pretty regularly.
That's very
so,
cool.
I mean, if you're a Sean Stone fan, definitely, I mean, frequently he's there. So it's always something good there. And you know, in the future coming up, you'll be able to catch some streams of those shows.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, you know, live streaming some of that live music stuff. Because it's a win-win. Now you might not be able to get the whole show for free because, of course, we want you to come down to the restaurant,
Check it out.
You know, so you might get a teaser live feed of the music, but I mean, again, it's a good place. It's a good vibe. The town of Appalachia's got a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing.
The town of Appalachia needs support, you know, so that they're really trying. It just required, the town of Appalachia is doing their part.
Right.
I feel like, you know, to put out some stuff, give people a reason to come down there. They just need to come down and do it.
Yeah. So definitely, we're going to check that out because I think that's a lot of good opportunity and a lot of fun things happening soon.
Absolutely.
So, what about you, Stacey? How's your week been?
It's been good.
She wasn't expecting to say anything, was she?
She made the comment to me a minute ago. I'm getting sleepy.
Oh, getting sleepy. Well, it is 11 days.
But you've got the big computer screen. You can't see her.
No, I can't.
No.
I can only really see the top of her head, a little bit over the top of her
Yeah, she
head.
was leaning in the chair like this.
So I guess if you want to listen to the other people's show for sleep, you can do that as well.
Yeah, the morning started early.
Yes.
We have early mornings.
Just make sure if you do, just leave the dial on 92.5.
Now, but in the future too, we'll have multiple avenues like live streams. Because I was going to bring another device. I was going to bring my laptop down. Because, you know, I've been doing these live streams on Facebook myself on my page. Casey Messick, by all means, go check it out. The picture is me. And there's a tagged post of a live stream. That's how I know it's me. And so I was going to use my laptop to bring it down here, but I did 11:11.
Is that a pretty new feature, actually, to pin something on Facebook? Has it always been a feature?
It's been a feature. If you, I'm not sure.
For like digital creator?
I don't know. It may just be available on our profiles now because we switched them to professional.
Right.
Now I know it's been available on pages.
Okay.
Because when I made I started up a couple of pages before. I was really bad at maintaining them. That's why I don't have like TikTok, because honestly, I don't do good with multiple social media platforms. It's like way too damn much.
I mean, I've got this week, honestly, I posted on 5 different platforms almost every single day.
No, I know, and it's like
kind of exhausting in a
I know,
way.
and I've got the YouTube channel. Like, now I need to upload all the live feeds I did on Facebook. Now I need to download them, re-upload them to YouTube, and it's cool, and like I like it because if you're a content creator, the beauty of content creation is you only have to create the content one time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you can just put it up on as many platforms as you want and drive your traffic via all those other channels. But man, okay, so there's probably something out there unbeknownst to us. Well, I know that something like Hootsuite back in the day was something that worked well, that you could track, multiple social media accounts via the one platform. I don't know what that would be now, but again, I do well with one, I do well with one platform.
Right.
I do well with Facebook. And I feel like Facebook is the platform that everybody
tries to emulate.
Yeah, and that, and that most people in our generation use.
Yeah.
And it's more geared, I don't know what their original intent was, but it shifted to definitely more like our demographic, an age group. Younger people, like my daughter's 16, she doesn't really use Facebook that much. She's definitely scrolled the hell out of TikTok.
Right.
That
also lends itself to there's I think the younger the generation, the less attention span they have.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's why the scrolling, 9-second, 10-second videos.
Yeah, well, again, it goes right back to talking about natural born killers in the Real Talk show. It's that rapid fire kind of stuff. I can remember one time reading this story or article and it was talking about SpongeBob SquarePants, the cartoon,
Right.
and why it was so bad for kids, despite its positive messages, of friendship and blah blah blah. But it was the rapid fire, just cuts of everything. Like everything was just happening so rapidly that it rapidly stimulates, a kid's brain.
Right.
And it's the same kind of thing with people's attention span is all the hell these days. And the phones are very distracting.
Yeah. There's a little.
Oh.
I'm gonna chime in here. I do not like SpongeBob.
You don't like SpongeBob?
Not a SpongeBob fan.
No.
Now, I gotta be honest with you, I've only seen a few episodes of SpongeBob, and it's been on the air for over 20.
It's been on for a long. I've seen enough episodes. I mean, I've seen a fair amount.
No, I didn't see the movie.
A lot of 20 years because my kids just drive me crazy.
Drove you crazy with SpongeBob.
Yes.
I watched some, but I didn't watch a whole lot of SpongeBob. But some, and we had some on, but I don't know. See, I was one of those parents that when we did the cartoons and stuff, I would find that, at some point while we were watching the cartoons, Bella had either gone to her room to play with toys,
Right.
and I was the only one sitting there watching the cartoons, and I was fully locked in, listening like Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, are you familiar with it?
I've never heard of it.
It's a great cartoon. It's a Disney. It was on
Okay.
Disney. Phineas and Ferb. Squirrels in my pants. It's hilarious. Oh my God, you should pull that up right now.
Which one?
Squirrels in my pants.
Okay. What's the thing?
Phineas and Ferb. But listen, I mean, as far as cartoons go, it's good. It's good. It's very smart. You got these two brothers. They're like brilliant, and they're always like super imaginative, creative. They're coming up with all this crazy stuff and doing it the best summer ever. That was the whole tagline. The whole series takes place during.
Let's see. Is it this right here?
Susie? Susie, where are you?
There's a whole song.
Oh, I thought this was supposed to be.
Yeah, this is totally it.
Everybody
It's hilarious. It cracks me.
There's squirrels in my pants!
That girl's got some serious squirrels in her pants.
There's squirrels in my pants!
You jump like that. Got no chickens in your pants.
Squirrels in my pants!
S to the I to the M to the P, then maybe you can be moving like me. Step right over and watch me put it down. Step right over and watch me put it down. S to the I to the M to the P.
Well, you got back home water in your pants.
How can I qualify for government grants?
Hit those ties, me, put me in a trap.
I did listen. I did not expect squirrels in my pants tonight.
Squirrels in my pants!
Step right over and watch me put it
Wait, I didn't get it.
That's hilarious.
I never had heard of that.
No, it's good.
This is a kid's cartoon?
Yeah, totally. It was on Disney for a while.
Oh, yeah. Disney.
I don't know. I don't know if they're still making new episodes, but it was really good and it was really smart. So that's the kind of stuff that we try to watch.
Okay.
Like Discovery Kids. Yeah. Sorry to throw the squirrels in
No,
there.
that's
Like,
what the other people show
I
is.
mean, it's insane. But listen, Phineas and Ferb, like, honestly, it's a cartoon
Okay.
that you can, go find the old episodes. If you're looking for a decent cartoon to put on for your, it's not for super young kids. Obviously, because it's, but you can enjoy it, I think, as an adult too. It's not a super annoying one. It is not Caillou. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Caillou.
Ugh. Blah.
Caillou, I think, has like 5 million views per video.
It's probably hate. I don't even know, man. Listen, I don't know. Like Caillou, he's a whiner. Like hardcore. Drives me nuts.
How do you spell Caillou?
Cailou, I think.
All right, let's see. Here.
And he's just, I don't know. I do not like him. No disrespect intended to the Caillou parents out there, but oh my goodness. No, go Phineas and Ferb. It's way better. Go with Backyardigans. It's better too.
Huh. No, I gotta be honest. I I like the old school cartoons like Muppet Babies.
Oh, I like Muppet Babies. Like,
That's
I
a good
remember
one.
that, and like, man, I was talking about Fraggle Rock earlier, which is not a cartoon. I mean, that's Henson, but and like Animaniacs, I remember that.
That's a good one. Now, did you watch a lot of cartoons and stuff growing up? Because I looking back, I watched bits and pieces, but I don't remember watching a whole lot. I remember watching the advertisements for the show.
Well, right,
The
but
show.
you gotta remember, like, cartoons when I was growing up was very, very different than, like, we did not have Cartoon Network. Like, so, like, so
Sorry about that. It was Caillou. Caillou's theme song almost made me choke. It was so bad. Caillou.
Scarlet's no pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
But cartoons were very different, so like it was Saturday morning cartoons. I mean,
That
that's
was Smurfs.
and that was definitely stuff like Smurfs and Bugs Bunny.
Well, also, if you look at this, I don't know if you know, but there was a RoboCop cartoon.
What?
There was a Rambo cartoon.
Wow. See, I don't remember
G.I.
any.
Joe.
I remember G.I. Joe.
And that's another film, or not a film, but that's another series where, if you think about it, they use all these lasers, and it's mainly lasers and stuff in the G.I. Joe show, but no one ever. When does anybody really die?
No, well, not in kids cartoons.
No.
That would be mad.
Except in the
I don't know cartoons these days. Well, I don't guess anybody dies, but there's
in the G.I. Joe movie cartoon, Flint dies.
huh.
And in the Transformers cartoon, Optimus Prime
Optimus Prime.
dies.
Oh, right.
When I was younger, I rented that. I begged my mother and dad to rent the Transformers cartoon. They rented it, and I had nightmares from it. I actually have nightmares from it.
I remember Transformers and G.I. Joes, man. I remember getting on the roof of the house and tying the plastic store bags on the G.I. Joe's parachutes, yeah.
Parachutes.
Now, do you remember these little things that used to sometimes be in like maybe a quarter machine? It would be like in that little bubble thing,
Yeah.
but it'd be like a little man with a parachute.
Yes.
I don't remember
I
ever
remember
getting
that.
It was like a little man, and it had like a little parachute, and you
Yeah.
would throw it, and it would probably, I don't remember, maybe that big was, but it had like a little
Yeah.
parachute.
It also had like the string wrapped around.
I don't
Yeah.
recall ever getting one.
Was it in a quarter machine? Or maybe it's 50 cents, but I think it was a quarter machine.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy those things are even still around.
That is true.
It makes you wonder, like, maybe one of those guys is still around
Can you imagine?
in a machine somewhere. Oh my god.
They probably are. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Why not?
Probably right. I don't want to creepy spider rings.
I know, right? I know. Or it's been like lodged
Yeah.
thing for like 30 years.
Yes.
It finally gets knocked loose.
Here was something that I was wondering about. Do you think it's harder as we're approaching middle age? We're still young.
Approaching middle age.
Yes.
How long you doing middle age? Listen, I better quit smoking.
But do you think it's harder as you've gotten older to make new friends?
Yes, but I think, well,
There's a reason for that. We're more selective.
no, that's what I was gonna say. I think it's done. I'm more selective with people. Like, people in general sometimes get on my nerves. And I don't mean that disrespectful to other people. I think it's very much like me in a lot of ways. But man, yeah, I find peopling, it wears me out.
Yeah.
Like, by the end of the day, I'm like
Drained?
drained.
Exhausted?
It's funny because I've made a 30-year career out of restaurants, which is, very social. It's like the social epicenter of town, is what I've always said about restaurants. And but no, it's always wore me out, and so I'm super selective with my time and energy, especially like I don't know. I say that, but I'm trying to transition into this place on social media where I'm trying to do more live streams. I'm trying to offer more ideas, personal experiences, and so I'm offering that very much myself, but like my immediate, intimate energy space, yeah, I'm kind of, because the internet, I can not go on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've come a long way with Facebook, honestly. Like, I'm really kind of proud of myself. I had to get off for a while.
You had mentioned that once before. I went a couple of years ago. I actually deactivated it for about a year straight.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I've never gone that long.
And then I would post. I would do weird things. Like I would.
I haven't a year off.
It was.
Which is crazy because listen, I mean, it's addictive. I'm not, no lie. I've had to really work on that with myself. But I had to get off of it because it was just so much bitching and arguing.
Negativity.
Yeah, it's just like all it was. I mean, it's still, my newsfeed is very much still that, but I just disengaged from it. And now, honestly, I just look at it as an observer, and then I'll do a live feed, make some societal, commentary to some degree, or just why that is not. It's only contributing to the problem and the further demise of our society to constantly be arguing about it.
Yes,
whether on social media or any other kind of, because it just keeps creating noise.
Now, have you had any friends that you? What's the longest friend that you think that you have? You ever had any lifelong friends? Like friends
outside of family?
Yeah. Or would it be more like I've known people that I see
can't
occasionally.
I can't say lifelong friends, though. I am still friends with people that I went to school, that I grew up with.
Friendly with them, but not friends you would hang out with.
Yeah, well, most of them aren't local. Now, one of them, I got a buddy Joe that we became friends. We lived together more than one occasion. I want to say he's out in Colorado now. Maybe, I don't know. And he's lived up here before. I went to jail with him, actually.
Really?
In Forest Park, Georgia. Yeah, we went to jail one time. We were super young. Not super young. We were old enough to drive without a car. And we were stupid. And I want to say I must have been, I just graduated this summer after I graduated high school, so I was 17.
So you were 17?
In 1994.
Do you mind to, if we dive into this a little bit?
The story?
Yeah.
I'll totally tell the story.
So listen,
it's funny. This is something you'll get to know about me. I'm totally I'm pretty wide open. I'm game with talking about anything, especially from my past, especially if I can tie it to some kind of a lesson or something I gained by. I can tell you the crazy story, but I'll also tell you where that led and where my life's at now because of it. So 17, we had decided that we wanted to get the hell out of Big Stone Gap.
Okay.
And so we had this brilliant idea. We were going to go down to Florida. We're going to get a sheet of acid.
So this is the trip? Just to go to, we're going to go to Florida to pick this up?
Yeah, this is how.
Okay.
So to put this story.
Why? One question.
Okay, wait a minute. Is there a statute of limitations on the story I'm about to tell?
I guess so. Let's hope so.
No, yeah, right. Now, listen, this has been, I'm 46, I was 17. So this is like 30 years ago to put it in context.
So, but you couldn't find anything a little closer? Like Florida?
No, well, listen, we grew up in Florida.
Oh, okay.
That was the plan. So we had people in Florida. We both grew up.
So kind of like a homecoming in a way. So you were going back to your hometown?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the plan. And so the plan was to do that and then basically flip those doses and to fund everything else. So it was the total.
Wait, what is everything else?
Well, to fund the road trip, because that was the plan. Like the plan was to basically try and okay, so in theory, you pick a band. So we decided we wanted to go sell acid in the parking lot of Billy Strength concerts.
Oh,
and fund it via selling the acid. I would not do that right now because selling acid is illegal. And do not do that.
Yes, we don't condone that at all. This is what not to do.
Right.
So also you were mentioning gas. So gas prices, I'm looking at them up right now. 1994, $1.17.
Wow. Yeah, I was telling my kid that story, and I remember paying $1.25 for a pack of Marlboros. You know what I mean? And it's like now, like, wow.
What's crazy? This was like 10 years ago. I went to New York real quick. Not real quick. But went to New York.
Story.
And we got my friend that went with us got a pack of cigarettes. 13 or 14 bucks for one pack of cigarettes.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That was no joke.
I got a story about buying cigarettes in New York, dude. It's pretty good.
They must. I mean, people, if you're spending that much money up there on cigarettes, how much extra money do you have?
Yeah, I don't. There's no way I could do that here. I mean, not on what I make or what.
Do you smoke a pack a day?
Yeah, that's probably safe to say. Pretty close. Well, I mean, on it. Well, let me say this. It depends on the day. No, it depends on the day and what I'm doing. I mean, because honestly, so like a work day, I don't smoke as many cigarettes in the course of a work day because I have 7-8 hours that I'm not just sitting around doing nothing.
Exactly.
And I'm really working. And honestly, I think I'm starting to smoke a little less because I'm trying to be more productive with my time.
Right.
So I'm not just sitting around.
Because see, time is the only thing, one of the only things you can never get back.
Right.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's it.
And there's no. It's more valuable than almost anything.
Yeah, you know, and how you spend it. Because I'm a big time procrastinator. Like I've had a big problem with procrastination in my lifetime, and so.
What do you think causes that, or causes you to be that way? Because you said you've taken some initiative and started the live feeds back on Monday and Wednesday.
So when I had to look at the procrastination, at least in myself, I had to separate it into two different types of procrastination. So there's, a procrastination that I had in school and growing up where I didn't do homework ever. And my grades suffered because of homework.
Right.
But I wouldn't write the paper until the night before it was due.
Okay.
I wouldn't do the projects until it was like deadline. So when the deadline would approach, I would go into panic mode or whatever mode and throw something out. It would usually do halfway decent, I would pass or whatever, get a passable grade. But then as I grew up, I continued that pattern. I justified it to myself, like I work really well under pressure. So, okay, no, it's not. I'm a procrastinator. I work really well under pressure. That's all it is.
Well, see, that's what I did when I was doing grad school classes. I knew that the assignment was due. And it wasn't like I was really procrastinating, but it was like, I know when it's due. I know what I'm capable of. I know that I can get it done in this allowed time.
Right.
And that's what I allowed to do it. And I think that's one reason, like in dreams, I'm the only person that gave it a deadline. There was no deadline. But I was like, if I have a deadline, I will finish.
Right.
So
which is good
the
because, and that's nice because that segues into the other type of procrastination I was going to talk about, which is that it's that type of procrastination when there isn't a deadline.
Yeah.
When there isn't something that is going to send you into panic mode
to make you move forward.
And some people are disciplined. Like if you set yourself a deadline for that movie and you were able to achieve that. I myself, up until I don't know that I could now, that's the kind of thing I'm working on, but I couldn't, I could set a deadline, but if it was a deadline that was only for me,
right, it was difficult to achieve.
Yeah, because it wasn't that thing to like really, and what that caused to happen throughout my life as I've gotten older, it was an inability to deal with issues that got big because of procrastination,
right?
Because it's just going to take care of itself. It's just going to work itself.
Right.
And so you just kind of keep putting it on the back burner and not really tackling it because again, there's no deadline. There's nothing to like. Until something happens that you're like, oh, damn.
Well, I do have a motto, and it's something that I've picked up the last couple of years, and it's like, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today.
Right.
And I really try to live by that, even with everything. Because for one, the show. Obviously, it was the right time. You came along, we connected, we got the show on the ground. But without us saying, was May 5th, that's the day.
That's the day. We're doing it.
And nothing really was going to stand in our way of doing it because we set our mind.
No, right. And it's that.
But we gave ourselves the deadline.
Right. And see, and now I'm applying it to myself now too, because again, once I came on with this and we were doing the Wednesday podcast, that gave me, okay, so I know like this is happening.
Kind of like more of a structure.
A structure, sure. And so that's why I started doing the live feeds at lunchtime on Facebook on the Monday and Wednesday. I would do it Friday too. I may take it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
You do it from noon to 12:30.
Yeah, I try and keep it
Somewhere around
20.
there.
I'm working on keeping it within like a 20-minute span of time. Now the first couple hours, the last one I was able to, but I get long-winded. And live feeds, it's weird because like as people hop on, if you're like mid kind of thing, like I always feel the need to kind of like wrap it back around and like do kind of a recap. And now I'm getting repetitive.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so now it turns into this hour-long thing where I've really only talked about this subject for like 30 minutes twice.
Right.
Really is what's happened. But when people see, like Stacey pointed out to me at one point, when people see like an hour-long live feed, if they don't catch it in the original, they're just going to watch the replay. They're not, again, 20, 10-second short attention span society.
Yeah.
So they're not going to like even start to even get what you're trying to talk about. And so I'm really trying to work on that. But again, that is me too with my procrastination. Like, so, okay, Casey, 12 o'clock on Monday and Wednesday, you're going to do this live feed, and you're going to do it for 20 minutes. You're going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
You made yourself a schedule. You made yourself, this is what I'm going to do. Because I thought I've been trying to start because you've done it for about 2 weeks now, right?
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to start the gym again, and I try to never do that in January because I don't really want to do, start the new year right. I just need to go. It doesn't matter because it's the new year.
Right.
But I've been trying to wait until I get actually buy some new shoes to go, and I'm very picky with that, so it's taking a long time. But I have no one else to blame for me not going other than myself.
No, right.
You know what I mean? I can't blame Stacey. I can't blame you. I can't blame Lana. I can't blame anyone but myself.
Right. And I tell you what, I think that's probably people's biggest problems in their life. And their life being stuck where it's at. If you feel like your life stuck is, we have a society, I think, that we've kind of been taught and raised to view everything externally. Like good, bad, whatever is because of something external. And while those things very well may contribute to the choices you make in your life or influence your belief systems or anything like that, it still comes down to choices that you make.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I can blame my situation. I mean, we blame society, but we are society.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like we can blame the government or corporations or religion or whatever we want to blame outside of us, or thank for, give tribute like this happened because of this external event.
Right.
It's like one of the examples I would use is like, say, so somebody gets on stage or winning an award and they thank God and everything like that. And like, I'm not knocking that, of course, but like at the same time, like that was you that got you.
Yeah.
It was you and your support system. Like you worked hard, you were dedicated, you
put in the time, you put in the effort. Yeah.
Like, you weren't lifted and like just magically appeared on this podium accepting this
Right.
award. You worked hard to get there.
there.
Family, people sacrificed. So like look at it like it wasn't something external from you, it was you. It was very much you that did that.
Yeah.
And we like to do that in society is again just like blame.
I think also
but it's easier to blame something that you have no control over changing. Because
do you
now
think
it's
most people have motivation or no? Or do most people fall into that? They get up. And I'm not knocking this at all because I've done it. You've done it. Most people have done it. But you get up, you go to work, and then come home, flip on the TV, have dinner, play with the kids or whatever, do homework, and then start the whole thing.
It cycles.
And I've always, and I live a little bit differently, I guess, because I'm not. I guess it's maybe a little bit odd that I don't have kids my age. But that being said,
I don't know because, maybe it is. I don't know. I think there's a good portion of our generation that totally chose to go that route.
Yeah.
To not do kids and stuff.
Well, my thought was, what we're doing now, the show, doing things with the film, it's really been all what I wanted to do.
It's your baby.
And I've had to do, I call them side hustles.
Right.
But this is the career.
This is the
The
career.
filmmaking and the radio host is the career. And this is the career because I've wanted it to be that way.
Sure.
And there's been tough times along the way that's, distracted me. But here we are.
No, yeah. And
It's a persistence, motivation, goal setting.
Sure.
And I don't know if society as a whole does that. I don't feel that they...
No, society's gotten really...
But is it a lack of motivation? Is they don't know what they want? They don't want to put in the work? Do people want to put in the work to accomplish things nowadays?
I don't know. Well, I would say no. I mean, I think work ethic has gone down the toilet pretty much. And we're heading into like younger generations as well. Not to knock the entire generation, but again, not. It's the first, like my kid's generation. She's 16 now. It's like this first generation of kids raised with devices around.
Totally,
really, from birth to present with devices, and
because
so it's very different.
we came up where we didn't have them at a younger age for the most part, and then we came into it as we grew.
Yes, right.
And were we the last generation that had that?
I would imagine
I think so too. And
so, coming out of the 90s and stuff, because it was right about that time that kind of stuff really started.
So I wonder if the excitement, I wonder, is the excitement of, because it was new, fresh when we were growing up and stuff like that. But Ken, like, were we excited, because, well, we have TV? No, we've always had television in our life.
Yeah.
So wasn't it quote
unquote, we didn't have 24-hour television.
That's true too. They used to have when TV stations would turn off, they would have
National Anthem. Yep.
Yeah.
Would go off the air.
Yep. What at midnight? Back on at 6 a.m.
That's what I remember. Yeah. And then we had the off-air bars or whatever. Sometimes would be the bars, sometimes it would be the. I can't remember what the other graphic was exactly, but yeah.
Did it sometimes show a flag or something right before? Or did it
well, a lot of times I remember there would be the national anthem. There would be like a video of the waving American flag. Sometimes it was a bald eagle. Or something, But yeah, and that's what it was, But now it's
like sign off.
Yeah, but now we have 24-hour news cycles, 24 like hundreds and hundreds of channels, and and like the thing with the procrastination and with motivation is what happens is like we're motivated to do things. I think a lot of times because there's a reward, there's some kind of something. Whether a lot of times like to put it in its simplest terms, like a dopamine release.
Yeah.
When that dopamine release is like motivates you to do something. That's how is it? I can put it in the context of a drug, even because I was a drug addict for a long time, and your motivation is that fix, basically. You know what I mean?
Just to get to that next.
Yeah, I mean, like drug addicts, they might not have cars or money or whatever, but they will sure as hell get up, find a way to hustle up the money, hustle up the ride, find the fix. They are hella motivated. But it's that release at the end. It's that dopamine. It's that fix. I mean, it hella motivates them. And so if a drug addict can be that motivated to get a fix, well, why the hell can't you be that motivated to chase your dreams?
And
I had to realize that with myself.
Right.
Like, damn, I worked that hard, for drugs and shit.
What if you apply that
to something positive? But I had to get clean first. Now I've been clean off the drugs. I'm coming up on, I want to say 7 years. I want to say actually maybe later this month.
Congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that. But I had to realize that stuff. And so the thing about the motivation is, if you tie it to dopamine, people get unmotivated and we procrastinate because procrastination, I feel like sometimes is a form of stress relief.
Yeah.
Like the just not dealing with the stressful issue, just sitting down, scrolling your phone.
Is that the biggest release you think you have as far as devices or other than that?
The phone definitely is a distraction. I think it's a huge distraction for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've gotten better, but I've had to be diligent about
Me
it.
too.
You know what I mean?
I've had to try to. You can set a thing on your phone that'll monitor how long you've been on each app.
I've got that going on mine too.
And I try to regulate now because now we can actually post things in advance and schedule.
Yes.
So I try to do it in the morning and at night.
Yeah.
Except for maybe messaging people that's contacted me throughout the day. I try not to get on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I get on. I see your show on Monday and Wednesday, but.
Well, what I'm trying to do for myself with that time, especially on the social media, is make it productive.
Right.
There's something to be said for being on your device. But what are you doing?
What are you accomplishing?
If I'm sitting there for an hour on my phone, but I'm reading about natural born killers or something, or preparing or researching for a show topic or something, I feel like that's not wasted.
No,
that's productive time.
You're utilizing the time effectively and productively.
Correct. And so what I had to do for myself was I took and I decided, because I'm a world-class procrastinator. I had to put a dollar value on my time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was
You
like,
had mentioned that a few weeks ago.
You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I live in the state of Virginia. Minimum wage is $12 an hour. Just flat up. I walk into something I've never done before. That's what I'm going to get paid.
Right.
And so, all right. So in a field that I have zero experience, my time is worth $12 an hour. So how do I want to spend that $12? You know, like metaphorically speaking, I'm not actually throwing, you know, like if I want to spend an hour on Facebook just aimlessly scrolling it, is that worth $12
of your time?
You know, is that worth $12 cash money? Not that I'm going to actually put that money on, but you know, it maybe at that time it is, maybe it isn't. You know, but if I'm spending an hour researching something, or I'm spending an hour doing live feeds, while it doesn't have an immediate like monetary return or reward per se, it's still an investment of time.
Right.
You know, so am I willing to invest $12?
And you're also investing in time, something that you enjoy doing too.
Right, correct.
Like with the show right now, not a lot of money coming in.
Right.
But it's something we can build upon. We're putting the building blocks together right now.
Yeah. Correct.
Making the foundation.
Yeah.
And working toward. And I just wonder that there's so many people. I see a lot of people per day, and I interact with a lot of people as do you too.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of. I have a small, close, group.
Yeah.
Other than that, but it's odd to or interesting to see how people spend their time.
Yeah.
Especially if they have. It's different if you're going out with your friends, your family, you're going to the movie, you're going to a restaurant. But to spend that free time, the quote unquote free time that you have to yourself.
Yeah.
How do people spend that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of people
go to the phone.
Yeah, they distract their minds because people, you start getting bored, and people start thinking too much, and people don't like to start thinking too much. For whatever reason, either you start worrying about your problems, or you start whatever that inner dialogue.
What would you think the major problem? Now, obviously, there's millions of answers. But one of the major problems that people deal with, besides mental health, would you think finances? You think that's?
I would say, I would say your top three are probably finances, children.
Relationships?
Relationships. Yeah, maybe the top three. Because I was gonna say finances, relationships, kids. Those are all kind of intermingled because a lot of times the relationships have to do with finances and kids.
Yeah.
Like that. So they're kind of all intermingled. And addictions.
That's true too.
Of whatever those addictions
are,
because addictions doesn't mean drugs.
No, you could be sitting playing a video game every day for 12 hours a day.
Correct.
That's an addiction.
Correct. And it's because it's fueled by that dopamine release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which keeps us unmotivated to do anything else, because if it's not enjoyable, we're not really, the big things, the big problems are hard to deal with. And so there's not much enjoyment in doing the hard work. And so you got to find a way, I guess, to make it enjoyable. Now, when I was getting off the drugs and stuff, I'm a product of the OxyContin epidemic here,
right,
in Southwest Virginia. And so when it just affected so many of us. But I left the area. I traveled a little bit in Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and stuff with my mom and my kid. But when I came back, I didn't leave the mountain that we lived for a year.
Really?
I didn't leave it. I didn't want nobody to know that I didn't want anybody to know I was back around. I didn't tell anybody. I was there was a small handful of people, but I didn't really want people to know because I hadn't reinvented myself, for lack of a better way to put it.
Right.
I didn't want to go out and people immediately remember me from that. I kind of wanted people to have enough time to just kind of forget about that part of me. But
and you don't want to fall back. It's kind of like some of those movies that you see, like when someone gets out of prison, but yet they're
no, it's all
they're pulled back into the old group, and they're getting into the old
which is very real. Which is very real, because it's all cyclical here. Because it's generational here in this area. Because that's exactly what happens. It's like they get people go to jail, and even if they want to get better and you come out, what are you supposed to do here?
You're going
to go back to the home, but a lot of times the parents. These are kids whose parents use drugs, and a lot of times the grandparents back generational.
The entire
holler is on dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes,
And they have been for 30 some years.
right? So like, how do you
Break
how do
that
you-
cycle.
You know, you gotta leave, go
Yeah.
somewhere else. You know, because it takes real work to be able to like be around it. Like you gotta really, but once you make that decision,
Right.
it's easy. I mean, it just gets easier because again, the things that make it hard is stuff you're just telling yourself in your head anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, a lot of the time, yourself, you're your own worst enemy.
yeah, no, always.
Yeah.
I mean, I think really because in whatever loop you got playing in your head, you know, I had a problem with drinking at one point, and you know, I quit drinking, and that's been a little while now too. But but it goes back to like I got off the dope for 7-something years now, but just 2 years ago, well, 3, especially during COVID,
Right.
it kind of really blew up. But I developed this drinking problem that when it started, I was like, no, I can control socially, I'm cool. But no, like
It went out of
it
control
just
after a
got
while.
out of control because again, even when I saw it becoming an issue,
How long were you into it before you realized, hey, like to yourself?
well, I know I was into the pills and the oxys and all that stuff. I want to say it was about 2 years in, and when I had this realization,
That they control you.
yeah, I
You
was
don't
like,
control it.
oh damn, I got a problem. And I was on that stuff for 20 years.
Wow.
I was in for 2 years. No, it took me 18 more years
To turn it
to
around.
really turn that around. But it was hard choices. I mean, it was because again, it became very much for a long time there. This would have been like late 90s and the 2000s. It was just what it was here. You know, like everything else. Well, I was going to say everything else seems like it just kind of vanished, but I probably only think that because I was only operating within the spheres
Right.
of you know people. But it was a lot of people because we all know it was like huge. This is ground zero for the OxyContin epidemic on a national level.
Right,
You know,
right.
this is one of the first places that it was released. I mean, it made
Like widespread.
widespread. I mean, the series Dope Sick on, what was it, on Hulu?
Yeah, is
I
that the
think
Michael
Michael-
Keaton?
Yeah, you know, it's supposed to be, I have never watched it.
I've heard good things, though.
Yeah, I've got, well, again, you know, I feel like from what I've gathered about it, a lot of it's very much based on this area, based on people from this area. And I have to be honest, it's based on people from this area that are probably portrayed in the movie unlike they are in real life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And therefore, I don't want to watch it. It's probably going to piss me off because I think it's probably an unfair representation of what actually transpired
Yeah.
in this region, which is why I'm talking about doing a documentary myself about it. Because again, like,
Well, see, that's the
we're
interesting
like
thing.
fast forward now. We're like in this aftermath area of this OxyContin epidemic that happened here because that stuff it went away, but then like methamphetamine, you know, meth and stuff came in, which is a far worse monster. That's how my whole addiction ended. And that just
Wow.
is crazy, and it's horrible. It's just horrible.
And now looking back, because for one, you have, and you've got a lot of stories to tell, and you're going to probably start up your own podcast as well.
Yeah.
But would you have thought? Now, you know, I know you said you knew you had the potential. You knew this. You know, this was what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But did you think far enough ahead that where you could see yourself doing it when you were in those moments?
It probably.
Or were you just too much down in that where you couldn't see the forest for the trees kind of thing?
No, well, I definitely not being able to see the forest for the trees, and I think that happens in a lot of situations when you just got to let it get too big. But yeah, I mean, I'm always kind of been a daydreamer. You know, I can very easily visualize myself and everything, and because like addiction's about escape anyway, especially drug addiction. Right. Or any addiction probably is about escape from like reality, whatever like takes you to another place. But it all becomes its own vicious thing. But I could easily, I've always seen myself doing this kind of thing.
Right.
And so,
did you think it? Not that you have any regrets, but did you, when you first thought of it, did you think it was like? I guess you were in your probably teens.
Well, with the drugs?
No, with wanting to do like radio.
Oh yeah,
Teens.
Teens, yeah.
So did you, if you had chased it sooner, how do you think that would have shaped? Would you still went into some of these addictions and stuff if you had been able to grasp this sooner?
Well, maybe
Or
because
would it have been worse?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I think one of my self-sabotage things for me personally has been, I don't know, this fear of stepping into my full potential, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a
Scared
fear
of
of success. Yeah, like a fear of success. And I don't know why now. Like I feel better about it now. But of course, during the drug addiction, I probably would have destroyed myself.
We could have been also thought about that exact same point that, maybe, I don't know, maybe for me and some others, you're not that you're used to failing, but you know how to feel when you fail. You know how,
Well, sure.
and you don't know how to feel when you succeed.
No, because it becomes unfamiliar.
And it's always like the rug is to be yanked out.
Yeah, sure. But see, what happens is we get stuck in those mindsets and we start living these self-fulfilling prophecies because we're living a life that we've already convinced ourselves, I can't be that successful.
Yeah.
Like I've already proven it to myself. And we start self-sabotaging and just
Nothing goes right for
live
me.
in that loop over and over and over again because we can't,
Really can't get out of our own head a lot of the times.
Because it requires diligence. Right? I mean, you have to stay really conscious, and it's just a matter of flipping the script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And pretty much taking control of your life,
Yeah.
what you do, because it's like that with anything. Sometimes there's like my 600-pound life.
Yeah.
The show, I think, is what it's called. Now, yeah, part of me does feel sympathy, but that being said, these people chose to eat until they get to that point.
Sure.
No one, people might buy them food, but who's making them eat it themselves? You've got to take responsibility,
Right.
which you have.
Yeah, and you have to take responsibility of the why.
Yes.
Like it's not that there's a reason why they're making that
Yes.
choice. But I think like society, we have a hard time we never want to ask the why.
It's society.
We will argue. We will never get to the why. It's like, it's like that because they made that choice, but why?
It's like
why
past,
did they make
it's
that
like,
choice?
it's a lot of times where people, maybe they have a victim mentality. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah, no, and people get stuck in that loop, and it's just a matter of flipping the switch. Like it takes just as much energy. Well, because what happens when you live in that loop, your ego is going to have you look and find everything to justify that feeling.
what you're doing.
You know what I mean? So if you feel like your life sucks, everything around you is going to look like it sucks. Your ego is going to do that to justify. Yeah, see, no, you're right. It totally sucks. But it takes just as much energy to look at all the things that you like. Just flip it to gratitude.
Yeah.
Like it takes just as much energy to be like, okay, my life's good. My life's not that bad.
It's
Or
just like
however
love and hate. If you can hate something,
you can
then
love
you
it.
can love it.
No, sure. Well, and that happens by understanding that thing.
yeah,
Because again, the things that we hate about people and the choices they make and all that kind of stuff, there is a reason why.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but again, that's a topic for another another show. Perhaps you could talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
All the time for sure.
Man, it's been a great show.
No, a great first show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. We'll get to some music and all that stuff next time. Perhaps we were having some kind of technical difficulties a little earlier and stuff, but
It's going to be a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm glad everyone joined us tonight on 925 The Vault.
The Vault, absolutely.
So until next week, you can go to all our streaming and social medias: YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, TikTok, Tops, The Other People's Show. Tomorrow night on 88.7, it's going to 10 o'clock there. It's going to be airing this past Wednesday's show.
Oh yeah, nice.
So that'll be there.
The Brothers Bloom.
The Brothers Bloom.
Great
Also,
movie. If you haven't seen that one, check it out and then pick up the.
I would highly recommend that.
It's a good movie.
And then next Wednesday, we're going to be back, I think, with another.
A new podcast series on Wednesday night.
Yes, so that's going to be fun. And it's going to be, I think we're going to dive into, I originally thought the Scream Killers. I think we'll do that number 2. I think the first one, there has been a resurgence of interest in the killer lady that killed someone in Florida, moved to Kingsport, lived 20-some years, operated the Purple Cow.
Oh, yeah.
So that's back in the news.
Sure. Oh, well, that's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I think we'll check that out. So, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, you come next week, Fridays.
Yeah, 10 p.m.
Every time.
Fun times, Casey.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
There's contests coming. Listen, we had discussed last night, giving away having a contest, giving away a spot on the show.
Yeah.
On the show with us one time.
Yeah.
Down the road. So good stuff, coming up.
And if you next week we're doing Pulp Fiction.
Pulp
I don't know if I
Fiction.
mentioned that on Real Talk. I can't recall.
I'm not sure if you did, but that's another good, popular one that is always fun to talk about.
Yeah. And Quentin Tarantino only has one more film he's making. He's only making 10.
Right.
So he's a number 9.
Well, so we'll end up covering them all. We're very Tarantino inspired movies that we've done already.
Agreed. So everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Adam.
I'm Casey.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.